Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Ego App Podcast. We're covering the MOBA Fire Fantasy Tournament with a $10,000 prize pool. My name is Snake Baby, and per usual, I have my friends Piston Swish and Demon with me today to talk some League of Legends and catch up with the quarterfinals and the semis. Yeah, are you surprised or are you not surprised on the final that we have ahead of us?
I think you have to be surprised. I mean, this is kind of the miracle run. It's one we haven't seen in a while. A team that's finished fourth in the LCK, or qualified fourth even. They were even lower than that in the regular season. So, DRX an incredible run. I think you have to be surprised.
I mean,
Yeah,
like, of course, there's a surprise factor to it, but when you're actually looking at the way they had to get here, at least when you're looking at the knockout stage, like defeating EDG is not that big of a surprise. I think it was a lot of people that actually thought DRX would win that game. Um, and then against Gen G, like, of course, that's a big like monster they have to defeat to get where they are, and that was the like only hurdle for them. I think that they had to overcome to reach the finals. So I'm not too surprised by it, to be honest. The only thing I'm a bit surprised over is the Gen G versus DRX series, but when I watched it, like to me, it was clear that DRX was the better team.
It's so different than what we saw in the regular season. Gen G swept them through, I think it was 8 games. And so just crazy. Not to mention that, before the tournament, the four LPL seeds were kind of considered the favorites is kind of Gen G, then the four LPL seeds, then you're looking at T1.
Yeah.
LPL did not perform the way we thought they might.
Yeah, and that's the problem when it comes to tournaments like this, because if you're looking at the LPL teams, they were all kind of peaking towards the playoffs in their regional leagues, and when you look at DRX and the LCK teams, they're like playing way better now than they did before, and they're peaking at the right time, which is really important in a tournament that's like this outdrawn. It's like 1 month of just pure games, and if you're peaking before that, you might be running into a wall by exhaustion because you have been focusing too much earlier on the playoffs and spending too much energy on that. And DRX didn't have to do that to the same extent as the other teams because they got knocked out so early in the playoffs in LCK. So I think like DRX has had a good strategy, at least. I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but to peak at the right time and reach this stage in the tournament.
yeah, I'm actually surprised that they won with like a 3-1 victory. I thought it would be much closer. Saying that, I didn't see the actual series because time difference, etc. But did you watch the series? I bet you did, Piston.
Yeah, I watched all the series. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna go back to the EDG series versus DRX. EDG's up 2-0. First of all, I had the most incredible thing I've ever seen watching Pro League of Legends, which was that inhibitor respawning right as Deft is putting the finishing blow on the Nexus. I was at home with my family watching it kind of secretly because it's a family gathering. They don't care about it. And I gasped, said, "Oh my God!" They're all like, "What's going on?" Course they don't care, but just insane. But game three, EDG is closing in. They're in the lead, and then both, um, blanking on names, Viper and Showmaker get hit by a max range Renata ult. It's just a stolen Renata ult, even from the Silas, and just like I don't know how you let that happen from max range, and then Showmaker panics and pushes Zanya's when he doesn't need to. The Soraka silence, and that changed the whole game, changed the series. I think EDG sweeps there. Honestly, if that doesn't happen, and that crushed my fantasy hopes. That was it right there for me. I was all in on EDG. So I was so tilted watching that. Just honestly a choke. I felt like EDG really choked.
Also, you had EDG players on your team.
I did. I spent a lot of time, so you can see on the board behind me. I kind of wrote out because I was sitting in 10th place going into the knockout stage. So I was really looking like I had a chance. I kind of analyzed the teams in front of me, tried to pick a combination that wasn't there. Now I did get kind of screwed. Someone in front of me switched their lineup last second and almost matched mine. So I think even if everything went perfectly, my max was second. But yeah, not a lot of EGG fans in front of me. I thought they had a great chance. Yeah, I think they did. I think they choked.
Yeah. Where are you now in the league?
Oh
table?
gosh, I think I'm down at 18. I went all in on EDG and JDG, and obviously it did not work out.
Oh, there you are. Yeah. Yeah, that's quite sad.
Oh, there you are, all the way down.
I
keep scrolling, you'll
yeah,
find me.
I didn't see you. Sorry, didn't mean to be toxic. But from my app, I chose the strategy with I was confident that Gen G was going to play in the finals, and in the previous episode I was talking about we need to go all in on T1. So I mean I was really impressed of their gameplay, but I didn't expect Gen G to lose. So I have 2 dead players in my lineup.
Yeah.
How does your lineup look like, Demon?
I mean, like right now it looks kind of doomed for me. I only have one T1 player and I have no DRX players at all. I went for safe bet or the like fan favorite bet with Gen G and JGG because I had other plans in mind, but then last second I switched it up just to try and get some standings at least. But it was the wrong decision. I was actually going for T1 DRX, but I decided against it last second, which was quite unfortunate when I look at the results now.
Yeah,
definitely.
You predicted the DRX to go to the finals as well. Like you have them as
Yes,
winner.
I predicted that DRX will win the whole tournament.
Okay, was that a strategy pick by you? Like showing DRX as winners and then picking Gen G players in the brackets?
No, I actually thought they had a chance to win, and then also like nobody else has it, so it was like okay, I can do it. Just to get like flex on some people if I get it right, because I think it's a possibility, and I don't think other people will see it as a possibility. So it was more like that, and I probably should have double committed to it and did it with the fantasy as well.
Yeah.
But the like thing that stood out to me, I realized after I did Locked in the Fantasy and looked at the more games in depth and did some reviews of them, and that's when I realized that DRX is actually quite a few leagues above the rest.
Yeah, and I mean, all props to DRX to reaching the finals, but I wasn't really impressed by their gameplay throughout the tournament. I think they have played the most matches, right? Counting the play-in as well, right?
Yes.
So
For sure.
maybe you can like say that they have adjusted well to the meta or be more comfortable in the picks. But looking at the quarterfinals and semifinals, we have one region that is so dominant, and that's Korea, of course. But yeah, I'm not gonna mention EU. That was I saw that match and I was like, yeah, that happened. So moving on.
And North America didn't lose at all in the knockout stage.
Yeah, they're
So,
undefeated.
Look at us go.
Undefeated, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, we're gonna look at the top 5 players right now in the league overview in the total standings before the finals. I have one dark horse, and I will shout him out in the last segment of this show. So if we're starting with this nickname though, King Zafal 8910, we can start with him. He's a pro player, pro slayer. So he has been he's been around the block, so to say. Probably a CS:GO fantasy slayer. But yeah, looking at his team, he has one player that is still active. So his chances isn't really good to take the first place.
I don't think there are any chances there.
I don't think so. No, it shouldn't be. But we can review his lineup with Kanavi, Flandre, Chovy, Kiera, Hope. What do you think about his lineup?
Well, he went Gen G, JDG like a lot of people. So certainly he was upset with the semifinal outcomes. I know he's really active on the Discord, the Ego Discord. So I know he's put a lot of work into it. unfortunate results from the semifinals, they go the other way, he's probably, in the running for winning.
Yeah, for sure. He yeah, like everyone else, he put everything in one like
One basket.
one basket and then went for it. So yeah, do you have any comments, Demon?
Not really for that. As Piston said, I don't think like he has great chances of actually making it to the top. As we said, he only has one player, and I don't see that as a possibility really, because most people above him has at least one player as well.
Well, spoilers. Okay, let's move on to the fourth place. That's Flimbomb, and that's a Ego Crew player. He is really good at fantasy CS:GO, from what I've seen, writing some articles and stuff, and impressive work from him going fourth before the finals. He has he has, or is it?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah,
No swearing
he's the
allowed,
one
but
winning.
yeah, oh my god.
He
Yeah,
has 4.
Sika, Beryl from DRX, okay, that's a hard one. Gumayusi,
Gumayushi.
Gumayushi,
Yes.
and Sevs. Kanavi
Yes.
is the one. Oh my god, he has 4 players. He's gonna be deadly.
Yes.
Oh my.
He is
Yes.
for sure in the running to claim the title.
Wow.
Because okay, maybe I shouldn't spoil how many people or how many players the rest of the ones have, but
I
he's for
think we
sure in
just
the
do
running.
it.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
just
I
do
think
it.
we can spoil it.
Yeah.
Flimbom's definitely the favorite here. I
Yeah.
actually messaged him before we did this to see where he was sitting after groups. He was in the 30s. So he just, he went all in on DRX, the team that no one else really had. I have written out behind me the rosters of the top 10 after group stage. Not a single DRX players in it. So really, really smart to go in on, we talked about it in the last podcast. It's smart to go in on a team that people weren't going to. And so, yeah, it's great. He was in the Discord during the Gen G DRX series. It had kind of been known to him that, if DRX wins, he's got a great chance. So that was fun to see.
Yeah. That's he put all his money in another basket and hit the jackpot basically.
That's right.
Wow. So he was in the 30s before the quarterfinals and semifinals?
Yep.
I managed to move
like
3 places.
if we look at
Good
it
job, Snake.
for a more mathematical standpoint, like if he has 4 players, and we'll say the average of the players will be around 10 points throughout the series, just as an example, then all the ones above him only have 1 player, so he has around 30 points that he should gain in theory. It could be less, could be more, depending on like performances of players, and that should be enough because right now he's slacking, or he's behind 12 points, it looks like. And if he has like 30 points to gain, he looks like a clear favorite to me.
Yeah. Well, I should reveal the dark horse now. Look, it's like Flimbomb is the big favorite now, but
Yes.
we have a player on 8th place, Vanken. He's a pro slayer as well. He has owner, Sevs, Deft, and Beryl, and only Yagao, some sitting in the dead spot, so to say.
Yes.
So I believe he has 916 and Flynn has 9. Okay, that's a long one.
Yeah,
he'd have to make up 20 points.
Yeah, that's probably not gonna happen. Do they have the same players?
They only have Barrel the same, and
Yeah,
Zeus.
yeah.
Zeus and Barrel is the only 2 they have the same. Otherwise, they don't match with other players.
Yeah.
So it's a hard one for him for sure. I wouldn't say it's 100% impossible, but he really needs to get some good performances from owner and Deft to be able to make it. And the fact that they are on different teams as well, Deft and owner, doesn't really help him either. So I think it's gonna be a rough one for him. I won't say it's impossible, but it's almost.
I'll say it's impossible. I think it's
Okay.
impossible.
Oh, calling it now. That's a bold move. No, but yeah, that's probably so. Probably Flimbomb as winner, and then Vanken as second, I would assume.
Yes. But the big question for me here, when we're looking at this, is if Limbaum, is he gonna go the safe route and captain one of the T1 players? Because I think he will win just by stand points, no matter what, kind of, because how little points he has to gain. He has to gain 12 points, and he has 4 players, while the other ones above him has 1 player. So the big question for me is, should he go safe with the captain, with a T1 player, which all the ones above him has 1 T1 player as well, or should he go for a DRX one and try to secure it with balls?
Oh yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of peeking around from Flimbomb and Vanken with the captain's mark, like switching at the last second or something. But yeah, Vanken really needs to have like owner, or was it Deft as captain?
Yeah. I
And just
probably would
go
need
for
to go
it.
for Def
Yeah.
and assume everyone else will go T1. If I'm Flinbaum, I'm looking ahead of me. I don't know. I don't want to jump ahead too much, but if we look at the guy who's currently leading, am I okay to do that? I don't want to jump ahead too much.
No. Yeah,
Um,
go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So Zapmaz, right? He's at 953, so he's got about a 12-point lead. He only has Zayas, and so really the only way it can go wrong for Flinbaum is if T1 sweeps so bad that the DRX players barely score any points, and then Guma also has a terrible series despite T1 stopping. That's really the only way. And so if I'm Flinbaum, I'm captaining Zayas because you know
Ooh.
that Zapmaz will, and that really takes away all of the variation.
Yeah. That's
I think I would actually go a different route here, because as you said, what's the threat is T1 sweeping the series. But I think if T1 sweeps the series, you kind of need the extra points as well from that situation. So I would actually go with Guma Yush in that with that logic as captain for Flimbomb, and make sure that you can maybe gain some extra points there.
Yeah, it'll be close, right? Like you assume, like you said, if an average score for a winning team is 11 or 12, that's pretty much the number he needs to make up.
Yeah.
So it would be close for sure.
I wonder how much pride it is to have like uh, uh, the big MOBA fight, right? Sapmas, for everyone who doesn't know, is has a title that is Dota 2 champion, and he's currently leading a League of Legends tournament. So I don't know how much pride it is to like beat this guy, or for him to win as well. That would be kind of awkward. But I mean, I personally I love both games. They are unique in every single way, and amazing to watch. So I'm happy either way. But I don't know. Oh no, not a Dota fan.
No. That's
Okay.
I'm cheering for Flimbomb. He needs to do this for the
Okay.
league community.
That's right.
Yeah. But I mean, it's still impressive for Sapmas to reach this high. Either way,
Definitely.
if he's flexing with the Dota 2 champion title, so all creds to him. But yeah, we will have to see how it turns out. Do we have anything else to talk about regarding the potential winners, etc.?
I don't think so. I think we covered most of it. Like, it's Flimbomb, and then we have Backen with a Dark Horse, as you said, which is slightly impossible, but maybe. And then we have the Zapmas in the top there. I think that's where the competition is right now. There's not much more in the competition.
Yeah, I think we should shut out second and third place just because they're killing it. That's one Dan one. He was obviously leading after the group stage, down to second. Only has Carrier left, so really has no chance. Number 3 is Stove. He also only has Zaya, so he's kind of boxed out. But obviously, great job. Top 5 is amazing.
Yeah, really good job, man. Okay, so moving on. This is actually our last thing to talk about. If we don't come up with anything else, we will talk about the finals, of course. Who will win and who will lose. I already said this. I'm going for T1. D-Man probably DRX, but Piston, where are you?
Oh gosh. Well, I've bet against DRX at literally every stage. Like I didn't even pick them to win the play-in stage. I didn't pick them to get out of the group stage. I picked them to lose 3-1 to EDG. I picked them to get swept by Gen G. I've picked against them at every stage, and I think I'm going to keep doing it. I think it's T1. The thing that is so crazy about T1, and Coach, you can tell me if I'm wrong on this. Obviously, I do not analyze games for a living, but T1, I think they realized they couldn't out team fight JDG, and then they just never team fought them again. Like they just pulled them all over the map. The Rise plays obviously were insane, and I just wonder if DRX, even if they're better fighters, like can they keep up with the map movements that T1 is doing? Because no one has been able to thus far. I'm not sure they're going to be able to do that. That's why I'm picking T1.
Okay, I mean, like, as a response to that, what you said, I think where this deciding factor lies in this matchup is going to be through the draft, I feel like, because when we're looking at DRX, they're by far the best drafting team I've seen in this tournament. They have very unique drafts. They know how to play them. They know how to utilize their champions in a good way. And then T1 is the like exact opposite kind of. They're only relying on individual skill and playmaking, and their drafts are, I'm sorry to say it, but horrible throughout the whole series. I don't really know what's going on there. It feels like it's just the players picking their champions and that they like and trying to make plays on it and just feeling good. So for me, it's like if T1 can gap DRX in terms of individual skill, I think T1 could come out ahead. But otherwise, I would put all my eggs in the basket of DRX because it feels like it's the only window that T1 has is to like individually outplay their counterparts on DRX. But there's like one more small thing that I would like to add because DRX is not solid either because when I reviewed their like EDG series for them, there were like times where they played it really good macro wise and strategically, where they played towards the win con. They played very smart and the map movement was really good. But then all of a sudden they flipped the switch and just threw everything away. And then they came back to it and played smart again. And then they threw everything away again. And then they played smart again. So there's some like inconsistencies. How do you say it?
Inconsistencies, yeah.
Yes, exactly. In DRX, that I think if T1 manages to find those windows where DRX is thrown off their plan, or when they seem to lose the train of thought in game, and they can utilize their individual skill to kind of get advantages at those parts, I think T1 for sure can come out on head in this matchup. So it's all comes down to how DRX will actually play out the games, and if they can stay consistent and they can stay in their train of thought and not lose it during the games.
Yeah.
I think one thing that's been cool with these two teams is the pocket picks that we've seen. Especially want to call out the Heimerdinger from Barrel, which drew a first phase ban in every single game in the Gen G series. Just insane. Like we never. I mean, we see that at Worlds every year is like some random pick that someone pulls out that just totally warps the meta. I mean, Gen G was basically playing with two bans. I'd be interested to see what they do, or maybe what your take is. Does Barrel get Heimerdinger? Does Faker get Rise? Do they give him those pocket picks or do they take them away?
I'm like, it's going to be hard to tell. Usually, when it comes to series like this, you'll have the first few initial games where you want to keep your hidden picks hidden. You want to keep them hidden and you want to play standard. Because if you win the first game and you still have a lot of like trap cards left in your draft deck, you are in a really good position. Because if you reveal them all at the beginning, the opponents can just ban them out, and then you don't have any juice left to hit them back. So what I will expect to see is like maybe very standard drafts in the first 1 to 2 games, and then the spice coming out, and maybe more pocket picks will be revealed, because then the real stuff starts happening. You need to win games. One team got put behind, and then that team needs to pull out something new, and they need to change up their draft and need to start doing different things that the DRX or T1 maybe didn't expect. And so for the first few games, there might be like very standard drafts. We might not see the Heimerdinger or Rise bands. We might not even see them picked. but then towards the later stages, I think those picks might be pulled out. Depends on their view of it. If DRX view Heimerdinger as a standard champion for them now, they might try to go for it early if T1 doesn't ban it out, and they have something new prepared in terms of Barrow's champion pool, which is actually really huge. He can play pretty much everything. But then on the same side of T1 Faker, he also has a very huge champion pool, can play pretty much every champion in the game. So there's for sure going to be some unexpected picks in this series, but if we don't see it in the first game, don't be afraid. They'll probably pop off in the second or third game, most likely.
Yeah, you caught what I was going to say before you even said it. The Heimerdinger, I think now is just standard. I think if Heimerdinger's up, Barrel's picking it right away.
Speaking about the drafts, I have a question regarding it. Which team should react in the draft, depending which team should react to the other team? Really, being a best of 5, it's. I mean, do you have time to react, or do you just need to prepare and see where it goes?
I mean, like normally you have a set amount of strategies moving into the draft phase. You have already had your draft meetings with your players. You have figured out your initial approach, your responses to the predicted picks of your opponents. And it's when these wildcard picks that come in, like with the Heimerdinger before nobody knew he would play it. When that comes in, then you need to be able to adapt. And that's when the coaches go into hard-working mode in the backstage, stop watching the game and start planning out the next game. So
Yeah,
I think it's all going to depend on who wins the first game, because moving in, you'll have your initial strategy, both teams, but then to the second game, that's where the losing team in the first game needs to start adapting, and that's where we'll start seeing the spicy things. So as I said, it's going to be a standard first game most likely, and then we'll see who has to adapt. But I think both teams have the capabilities to adapt. But I'm a bit afraid of T1's drafting. I don't see them as a good drafting team at all. So, for example, like if the DRX would first pick the Heimerdinger, there's a lot of answers into it that would absolutely obliterate the Heimerdinger and make it useless in the game. But I don't think T1 has the capabilities to draft in such ways that they would do that. So banning out Heimerdinger early on might be a really good option for them, unless they have actually looked into how to draft properly as a team.
okay. Is it more of a favor if DRX goes up 1-0? Are you more confident that DRX would take the series than T1 going up 1-0?
Yes, 100%. If DRX wins the first game, I think DRX is in a really favored position. If T1 goes up the first win, I don't think they're in a much better position than they would be in game 1.
I just want to see DRX on red side so they can get Barrel a counter pick and we can see what other things he pulls out. Actually, he pulled off the Braum, which isn't that exciting, but we haven't seen a lot of it. We'll see what other fun support counter picks he's got.
I mean, like, what I'm mostly looking at in this game is the Zeka Faker matchup, because Zeka he's a bit limited in terms of his champion pool. Like in the last series now against Genji, we saw him pull out quite a few different picks, but he's like mostly known for the Sylas Akali champions. And if he gets limited in terms of those champions, like what will he go to? Will he go back to the Galio that we saw in the Genji matchup? Does he actually have the Rise to pull out as a counter matchup to the Sylas, or what will his other answers be into Sylas? Like we saw Ari as well as an option. Like, will he stick to that, or does he have more tools in his kit that he can respond to these picks that Faker might steal away from him in terms of the Akali or in terms of the Sylas? Can he beat his own champions? That's my biggest question.
I think they get such a draft advantage with the Heimerdinger ban that they're not really going to be able to ban him out unless they let through other power picks.
I mean, like, for sure, that's a possibility. But then also, again, like, how many power picks will be let through if you have a very few bans to go because you have to focus certain bans on certain players? How many power picks will be open? And if you're on red side and there's 3 power picks open, you can secure 2 on red side and 1 on blue side, and then maybe those power picks won't be mid lane power picks. So you need to push mid lane to later on in the rotation, and then what will be the answer then? Because then the blue side team will secure the mid lane power picks or the mid lane champions that Zeka maybe would want. So for me, it's going to be interesting to see, like in terms of these set bans on maybe Heimerdinger, and then also looking at Seka's champion pool. I think that's what's going to be exciting for me to watch in terms of the draft, at least.
Yeah, but Seka's been so good thus far. I mean, probably the surprise of the tournament. I think definitely bar none. I mean, no one really expected much from him, and he's probably the MVP of the tournament if it ends today.
Yes.
So, yeah, we'll see what he pulls out. But so far, he hasn't let us down.
Yeah, the old king of the mid lane versus the new king. Let's see it. It's going to be a hype matchup.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the games overall. Just watch amazing players do amazing plays, and for your coach side, amazing drafts as well.
Yeah.
So that's it really. We don't really have any more things to go through. Any closing words from you, Piston?
Not too much. I've had a blast doing this. Thanks for the invite. Love talking about Fantasy League of Legends. I'm a little disappointed still that North America couldn't represent better. I couldn't rub it in your face quite as much as I wanted to, but still had a great time. So thank you.
How about you, Demon?
I mean, like, it's for sure have been fun. I wish I would have been better at fantasy at the beginning, but it's fun, always fun to talk about League of Legends, no matter what format it is. That's why I do it as a living, of course. I find it enjoyable, so it's always been fun being here. But we will be posting one more of this, right?
Yeah,
One more episode.
I was I was gonna say if we get in contact with the winner, we're gonna do a podcast with the winner and talk a little bit about the performance. So yeah,
That's going to be hype. That's hype for sure.
Probably Flimbomb, but it's still quite open. I would say at least there are a few players in the top 10 that can win it, but we'll have to see, and we will be back with another episode, probably if we can get a hold of the winner.
Yeah,
that's what we can say right now, at least. Well, thank you for listening or viewing this podcast, and best of luck to the still contending winners at hand. Have a good one.